前我们今天要讲什么故事啊？
The Biggest Valentine Ever。
抽世界上最大的南瓜。我们今天也买了一个大南瓜，对不对？你的大南瓜在哪里？在外面哦。好，那我们来看看这是谁的大南瓜，谁家的大南瓜？这是小老鼠们的大南瓜，不是大南瓜，大南瓜。害我那个口
他
吃不消。
们种，
是他们是谁啊？你还记得他们叫什么名字
可能
吗？
不是他们种的，
是他们种的，
不是吧？
不是吗？我没有看过这一系列的书哎，情人节你还在阿里巴巴，我们现在要讲南瓜的故事。The biggest pumpkin ever。这是一个菜园哎，这是谁家的菜园啊？种了不少的菜哦。Once there was two mice who fell in love with the same pumpkin. Clayton, the house mouse, noticed it one day in the vegetable garden. It was still little and green, but Clayton thought he could make it grow really big. It might even get big enough to win the grand prize at the town pumpkin contest. 所以其中一只老鼠叫 Clayton， 另一只叫什么？另一只叫做 Desmond。The field mouse discovered the pumpkin the same day. He thought that if he helped it grow, it could become the biggest jack-o'-lantern in the neighborhood. 就像你啊，你是不是想看一个南瓜灯笼？That afternoon, Clayton watered the pumpkin. He also mixed up some fertilizer of manure and water. He spread the mixture around the pumpkin to make it grow larger. 他好认真的种那颗南瓜，你看现在还小小的在这里，跟苹果一样大。That very same night, Desmond went into the garden. He watered the pumpkin too. He also spread some manure mixed with water around it. 妈咪要查一下这是什么字，我还不太会念。好，所以他做了一样的事情哦。The next day, Clayton watered and fertilized the pumpkin again. The next night, Desmond did the same, and the pumpkin began to grow and grow and grow. By the end of a month, the pumpkin was so large, Clayton couldn't believe his eyes. 你看它原本这颗南瓜更比他们两个小很多，现在长得跟他们两个一样大了。My goodness, said Clayton's mother, and it's not even full grown. Clayton shrugged. All I do is water it, he said. Clayton's mother whispered in his ear. If you want the pumpkin to grow bigger faster, she said, you should use sugar water. 真的哦，原来有这种绝招哦，有这种小撇步，用糖水可以让南瓜长得大一点。That night, Desmond brought his brother Morris to see the pumpkin. Morris knew everything there was to know about growing things. Ah, that's some pumpkin, he said. Desmond shrugged. All I do is water it, he said. Morris whispered in his ear. You should try using sugar water, he said. Wow, 所以他们两个都会用糖水吗？ The next day, Clayton dug a small hole beside the pumpkin vine. In the hole, he placed a bowl full of sugar water. He cut into the vine a few inches from the pumpkin. In the cut, he put one end of a piece of candle wick. Then he put the other end in the bowl of sugar water. That night, on the other side of the pumpkin, Desmond did exactly the same thing. 他们两个真是太有默契了，做事一模一样。这个南瓜就这样一直长，一直长，一直长。Within a week, the pumpkin was twice the size it had been. Within 2 weeks, it was absolutely enormous. 超级大，无敌大，霹雳大，超大的，对啊。Clayton was amazed. He ran down the road and peeked into his friend Jimmy's pumpkin patch. 这是吉米家的那个菜园，他的南瓜好小。The pumpkin Jimmy was growing for the contest looked much smaller. Clayton scratched his head. I have an amazing pumpkin, he said out loud. And I think I'm going to win the contest. That night, Desmond and his brother Morris spent a long time looking at the pumpkin. How do you think it got that big? Desmond asked. Morris shrugged. Oh, a little luck, a little skill. It's going to make some jack-o'-lantern, said Desmond. Oh, it sure is, said Morris. 所以最后到底是谁得到这个南瓜呢？ A week later, Clayton noticed the pumpkin was bigger than the family car. During the day, everyone he knew came by to admire it. And at night, all the field mice gathered round to do the same. By now, summer was almost over. In a week, the pumpkin would be full grown and start turning yellowish and then orange. A new weeks after that, it would be ripe and ready for the pumpkin contest. Clayton could hardly wait. The pumpkin was growing so fast. It would soon be larger than his house. Then he had a terrible thought. 什么样的糟糕的主意啊？ If the pumpkin was so big, how would he get it to the contest? 哎，没错，这么大怎么运过去啊？超级大，比快要跟房子一样大嘞。It wouldn't fit in his red wagon. It wouldn't even fit in a trunk. Clayton decided to worry about this when the time came. 你有想到好主意吗？要怎么样帮他把南瓜搬去呢？ That night, the weather grew colder, thinking there might be an early frost. Clayton rushed out to the pumpkin with his blanket. One was not enough. Soon he was rushing back and forth, carrying all the blankets from the house. As he worked, he hummed a little song, and as he hummed, he heard someone else singing. 是谁？是谁在唱歌？ He also began to realize that someone else was covering the pumpkin with blankets. 是他 Desmond， 对不对？ Desmond, too, had seen the danger of an early frost. He, too, had brought blankets for the pumpkin. And as he worked, he sang a little song. And as he sang, he began to realize that someone else was working and humming. Clayton stopped humming. He put down his piles of blankets and peered around the corner of the pumpkin. Desmond stopped singing. He put down his blankets and peered around the corner of the pumpkin. 哒哒！他们两个终于相见了，遇见对方了。The two of them bumped heads and fell down. You have been feeding the pumpkin? Said Clayton. Oh, you have been feeding the pumpkin? Said Desmond. That's why it got so big, said Clayton. Oh, that's why it got so big, said Desmond. They burst out laughing. 他们两个都开心了，是不是？他们是好朋友啦，原本就是好朋友，对不对？ When everything had been explained, Clayton said, I know I will win the contest if I can get the pumpkin to town. Desmond smiled. I will help you. Just let me carve the pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween when the contest is over. 哇，他们两个找到解决方法，所以先去比赛，然后再把它刻成灯笼，对不对？ It's a deal, said Clayton. A deal, said Desmond, and they shook on it. The morning of the contest was bright and sunny. Mice were bringing their pumpkins to the town square by truck and car and wagon. Some were rolling them along the ground. 所以他们到底要怎么运过去啊？你看人家的都这么小，他的这么大哎！哇， 一个车队帮他运，对不对 ？Suddenly, they all stopped short. Over the fields came the biggest pumpkin anyone had ever seen. It was being pulled by 100 field mice on motorcycles. When the pumpkin reached town, it was too big for any of the streets. Clayton had to explain why they couldn't bring it to the square. The mayor understood at once. He led the crowd to the giant pumpkin and pinned the first prize ribbon on its side. Then everyone danced around it. Who would have believed this? Said Clayton as he danced. Who would have believed this? Said Desmond at the same moment. When the celebration was over, the 100 field mice pulled the pumpkin back to the field. The day before Halloween, they carved it into the best jack-o'-lantern.
那好像他们的家。
有点像啊，因为小老鼠根本就可以住在里面，对不对 ？The best jack-o'-lantern ever. And on Halloween night, its wonderful smiling face could be seen glowing for miles around. 超远都可以看得到，是不是？很棒的一个南瓜灯笼。好啦，这本就是 The Biggest Pumpkin Ever， 世上最大的南瓜。The end。